Good morning, Chair Hafid. We've admitted everyone at this point, and we are now recording.
Good morning. Welcome to today's meeting of the California Agricultural Labor Relations Board. It is now called to order. First, I will call the roll. Board Member Broad.
Here.
Board Member Flores.
Present.
Wonderful. Board Member Hall.
Present.
Thank you. Also present as our staff from today's meeting is ALRB Executive Secretary, Mr. Santiago Avila Gomez, and also Devika Ganawardena, and they're both providing technical support. We will start today with the open session portion of our meeting, and then prior to going into closed session, we'll provide an opportunity for public comment on any portion of the meeting. Members of the public who have contacted the board either by email or phone and asked to be placed in the public comment queue will be called on in the order received. If you did not previously contact the board and wish to make a public comment at the end of the meeting, you may do so in one of several ways. I'm going to pause because I'm realizing we also have an interpreter for today's meeting. So even if you're able to hear me now, please go to the bottom of your Zoom screen and select the language button and select either English or Spanish. This will ensure that you have sufficient audio quality throughout the course of the meeting. I will pause a moment to let the interpreter say that on the other channel as well.
Now announce it while the interpreter, apologies interpreter, I'll do it in the English channel. Hola, buenos días y gracias por estar con nosotros esta mañana. Vamos a empezar nuestra junta. Si gusta escuchar la junta en español, por favor vea hacia abajo de su pantalla. Hay un glóbulo que dice interpretación. Haga clic allí y elija su idioma. Aunque escuche nada más en inglés, por favor, elija el inglés para que oiga claramente la junta. Gracias.
Okay, proceed. All right, sorry about that. Thank you. As I was saying, if you do wish to make public comment during the public comment period, you can do so in one of several ways. You can make a request in the Zoom chat function or use the raise hand feature, or you may email Santiago. His email is on the agenda, and you will be placed in the queue. Please note we ask that you use the chat feature only to indicate that you wish to make comment. Substantive comments that are in the chat will not be made part of the public record. We ask that you also provide your name and organization if applicable. This information will become a part of the official record of today's proceedings. If you wish to speak more than once, please alert staff and have your name placed back in the queue if you are able. If you have technical difficulties when you are called up, please reach out to us, and we will do our best to come back to you. We do have limited capabilities for managing participation during the meeting and during the public comment periods, so we're asking everyone who is not speaking to place their phones or Zoom on mute and wait to unmute until you are called to speak. These instructions are also available on our agenda, which is posted online at alrb.ca.gov, which is on the ALRB homepage under News and Information. Okay, moving on to our first agenda item, which is to approve the meeting minutes from both August 10th, our meeting in Salinas, and our last meeting, August 31st. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Okay, now moving on to the chair's report. We have a few items. Please note that we have posted our advisory information on our website, as well as distributed it to our mailing list regarding AB 195, which is a budget trailer bill that passed about 2 months ago, which authorizes the General Counsel's office and the board to receive complaints regarding labor peace agreements with cannabis licensees. More information about that bill and also information about how to file a complaint is listed in that advisory, and I want to thank members of the public and our staff for putting that together, as well as providing input and feedback. We are also currently recruiting for 2 administrative law positions with the board. I encourage those to please share that with your networks and also ensure for those around. I'm going to put a link to that application in the chat. Actually, we'll send it to Santiago, who will put it in the chat. so you can see that information there. I also want to note that I have directed our executive in an effort to review various aspects of our processes and ensure we are proceeding with cases as efficiently and swiftly as possible. I have directed our executive secretary to ensure that our regulations requiring that hearings are scheduled within 90 days of complaints being filed, unless there are extraordinary circumstances, that we adhere more closely to that regulation and ensure it is being consistently applied. So wanted to provide that advisory to the public. That concludes the chair's report. I will move on to the next agenda item, which is the executive officer's report on elections, unfair labor practice complaints, and hearings. Moving on to Santiago.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Hasid and members of the board. Since our last public board meeting, we've had one notice to organize filed at 818 Farms. That case number is 2022-NO-002 VIS, was filed on September 1st by Teamsters Local 1932 at a cannabis employer. That concludes the election activity. There's been one board decision issued in Lily's Green Garden, Inc. The citation is 2022-48 ALRB number 3 that was issued on September 8th, and both case numbers 2020-CE025-SAL and 2020-CE037-SAL. In that decision, the board, after sua sponte consideration of a remedial issue, the board ordered a back pay remedy. Moving on to pending matters, the Lily's Green Garden is pending still, either a petition for review and possibly reconsideration. And St. Supri, Inc., doing business as St. Supri Vineyards and Winery, case number 2022-CE015-SAL. And that was the General Counsel's request for subpoena enforcement filed on August 26, 2022. That concludes my report. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Santiago. I do not have any questions. Looking to see if any of my colleagues have any questions. Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to the litigation report with Chief Board Counsel Todd Ratchin. Todd.
Is that audio coming through? All right, I'll assume it is. Good morning, thank you. A couple litigation updates since the last public meeting. First, in Smith Packing, Inc. versus ALRB in the 2nd District Court of Appeal, case number B308102, the court issued an order on September 6th denying the employer's petition for writ of review. And in Synagogue Farms, also in the 2nd District Court of Appeal, case number B322632, the board filed the certified record with the court on September 1st, and the petitioner's opening brief is now due October 6th. And that is it for the litigation updates. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Todd. I don't have any questions. Any of my colleagues? All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Our next agenda item is the General Counsel's report with General Counsel Julie Montgomery. Julie?
Good morning, Chair Hasid and board members. Good to see everyone. I will start by announcing a settlement that we achieved just last week. And that was in Norman's Nursery. And that is a case out of our Salinas region involving a nursery worker in Santa Barbara County who filed an unfair labor practice charge alleging that she and other workers were discriminated against by Norman's Nursery, who changed their work assignments and conditions and threatened them with job loss after they raised concerns about drinking water quality and supervisor mistreatment. Our regional office staff filed a complaint in that matter after investigating the charge, and it was set for hearing this fall, but they settled it on September 8th for back pay for workers who did allege that they were owed back pay, and that was in the amount of $8,711 and $1,000 payment in lieu of reinstatement for one worker, and also the standard remedies of reading, noticing, and mailing to the workers. So that was a nice settlement that avoided protracted litigation for nursery workers in Santa Barbara County. So kudos to our Salinas region staff for that. And just quickly, I'll just highlight a couple of personnel updates in the general counsel program. We hired an attorney in our Visalia office who will be starting at the end of this month. And we are still seeking to fill several positions in the regions, including we have a couple of outreach specialists positions, a couple of attorney positions, a staff service analyst, and some office support positions as well for secretarial positions in some of the offices. So if you know anyone who's interested in working for the ALRB, we have openings in our general counsel program. So please check out our website. There's a link to job opportunities on the left-hand column, and it links directly to the postings. And I will conclude my report with just a brief overview of some of the outreach activities that our staff have been conducting since our last board meeting. We have been out at a number of community events, including tabling with the Mexican consulate as part of Labor Rights Week in early September, both in Oxnard and there were some. Actually, it was in Oxnard on September 1st. I think the other Labor Rights Week event tablings were before the last meeting. So yeah, it was in Oxnard. We also participated in a roundtable discussion, also hosted by the Mexican consulate in Oxnard, and that was titled 2 Years After the COVID-19 Pandemic. Our staff conducted a virtual Facebook Live presentation with Radio Indígena, and that was also out of Oxnard. And we did that in Spanish, or that event was in both Spanish and Mixteco. And that was also part of Labor Rights Week. And we participated in a Facebook Live presentation and tabling also with the Mexican consulate in early September for Labor Rights Week. And also with a community forum together with a community-based organization, MyCop in Santa Maria, which is in Santa Barbara County. So those are just a few of the presentations our staff have participated in. We've also been holding office hours in various locations, including Santa Barbara County and Santa Maria, and also in Coachella and Riverside County with some nonprofit service providers to help expand our access to communities that may have trouble, or farm workers who may have trouble traveling to our office locations. And we also had staff participate in a Farm Worker Services Coalition meeting in Imperial County last week. And so that's just an overview of our outreach that we've conducted. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, General Counsel Montgomery, and thank you to the staff. I don't have any questions. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Okay, great. Note, we do not have an administrative services report today, so we will be not hearing a report on that agenda item. Next is our legislative report with Chief Board Counsel Todd Rapson. Todd?
Todd, can you pull that mic a little bit towards you?
Yeah.
They can hear you, but it's safe.
Go on. There are no updates since the last public meeting. Assembly Bill 2183 remains before the governor at this time.
Okay, thank you. We do not have a regulation report, so we will next move on to public comment. Any member that wishes to make public comment may do so at this time. Please be advised that the board is unable to adjudicate, comment, or resolve any pending case matter before the board. I will ask our Executive Secretary, Santiago, to first go through the queue and then open it up. If you're having technical difficulties or we miss your turn, we will work to come back to you. Please remember to be on mute unless you are speaking. Santiago, do we have anyone in the queue that wishes to make public comment?
No one has indicated a desire to provide public comment. However, we do ask for our participants to indicate that desire if they wish by using the chat feature, using the raise hand feature in Zoom, or simply unmuting and provide your comment at this time. Thank you. Does not appear anyone is providing public comment at this time, Chair.
Okay, thank you. We will now go into closed session, and we'll return upon concluding closed session. Thank you.
Recording's restarting and everyone's admitted.
Good morning, and the board is now back in open session. Now for our next agenda item, which is announcements. Our next board meeting will be on September 28th at 10 a.m. and we'll again be here in person in Sacramento, as well as have an option for virtual participation. Thank you, and now the board meeting is adjourned.